Today, we're going to do a shave with First Line Shave Fallout. Coming right up. Hello and welcome to the Lather Hog channel, where we bring you fresh wet shaving content. I'm your host John, and today we're going to bring you a shave and a discussion featuring Fallout from First Line Shave. So before we dive into things, let me show you the rest of the shave. First up for the razor, we're using a charcoal goods level 2 with a Magnum handle in brass. For my brush today, we'll be doing a relatively new pickup from Viking, and that is my matte white custom brush here. You can see I've already loaded the soap. Swirled it for about 30-40 seconds here, but really nice shape. I'm definitely still in the process of breaking in this knot, but it's very, very nice, dense, but not too gelled, 26mm fan badger knot. And of course, the feature for today is Fallout here by First Line Shave. We got both the soap and the splash. Really nice artwork here. This is done by Kyle over at Blade and Lather on Instagram. Kyle's just, I don't know, super talented. He can do illustration, he can do photography. He's worked with multiple artisans in the wet shaving space, and I think it really also, the artwork stands out great on this bottle here. A very unique, kind of a red metallic look on the aftershave bottle. Before we move further, you can help me out by hitting that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already, if you're enjoying this video. Alright, so now that I shared the gear, let me wet the face and we're going to start building the face lather. So as I'm building the face lather here, let me talk a little bit about the scent. So Fallout is a scent that's inspired by Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo. And being a fragrance or cologne, this is a scent that has a ton of notes. So while I will list the actual note breakdown in the description below, to my nose, this is a really nice scent that I think is great for date night or for cooler weather, or even just a night out. It doesn't have to be like a fancy dinner or anything. And when I ordered this set, Michael Riley, who is the artisan behind First Line Shave, included a sample of the eau de parfum, so just the fragrance by itself. And so I smelled that first out of the box, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I've smelled the original Tuxedo before from a sample or decant, so it's a very close match if you are familiar with that scent. And Tuxedo is actually pretty pricey as far as fragrances go. So this could be a more affordable way to pick up that scent if you're a fan. So aside from being a date night scent, what I get is kind of a rich sandalwood note, some bright citruses on top like bergamot. I think vanilla is there to add sweetness. And oddly enough, I'm not normally a big fan of patchouli, at least when it's like very, very forward, but this one, the patchouli is detectable, but I feel like the other notes that are present help kind of round it out for me. That patchouli now is a little more pungent if you just sniff right off the tub, but I feel like it kind of mellows out upon lathering. I really, really like this scent, but ironically, given that it's a date night scent, it's only an okay for my wife. All right, so now going to the shave, we're working with 3 days of beard growth, and the razor itself is loaded with a Gillette Silver Blue on its third shave. The first pass is out of the way. We just went with a silent pass so I could pay attention to the soap This is not the first time I'm using it, but it's been a few days, so I did want to give an accurate, just some accurate details as I'm using it. But really, this base, version 2.0 from First Line Shave, this soap is very easy to use. And just as far as slickness, and so far from what I've experienced in post-shave, it's just a great all-around soap. Before we launch to kind of the main topic I want to get into today, I do want to say that it's been a hot minute since I had a video, and the reason I guess I fell behind a little bit this week is thanks to starting up straight razor shaving. And I've been capturing those as Instagram live videos. And so if you're interested to follow that journey, and I'll definitely get a straight razor shave on the YouTube channel as well, but it was kind of fun way to interact, but also get kind of some coaching from the chat. My very first straight razor shave was with my friend Ross. He's on Instagram as @NovaShaves. But Ross helped kick things off, and as of this video, I've had 3 straight razor shaves, which I'm kind of alternating with my regular DE safety razor shaves. But it's been really fun. I actually honestly didn't know if it was going to take or not, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll be keeping it up. But because I did that, I think, yeah, back-to-back videos this week, I fell behind on recording for the channel. So I do apologize for anyone that was waiting with bated breath for a new video, but here's a new video for today. And besides that, it's also just been a long week, honestly, and when you're tired, exhausted, emotionally drained, all of the above, it's hard sometimes to get in front of the camera. So I had to take some time for myself as well. So there's that as a factor as well. Anyway, if you're interested in checking that out, you can visit my Instagram @LatherHog to see those straight razor shaves. And if you follow me, you'll get notified the next time I do a live. It could be a very spur of the moment thing, but it's fun. So I would love to see you there. Anyway, we're gonna get to the second pass against the grain, and we'll also get to the main topic I want to cover today. And the topic for today is wet shaving artisans and inspired scents, or otherwise known as dupe scents. Now, based on the communities I'm a part of, and I try, I dabble, I'm in some Facebook groups, I'm on Reddit, and one thing I've noticed as far as an opinion that's kind of gaining traction is whether new artisans, or even I guess old artisans, soap makers, should be doing dupe scents. Because I know there's one camp that says, well, first of all, like established scents like Aventus, like we don't need another Aventus clone. We've talked about it on this channel. And I'm all for finding different scents different inspired scents to cover, because there's tons of fragrances and perfumes that have not been made into a shave soap. But it would seem that there's some backlash against just dupes in general, and that includes this soap I'm using today, Fallout. And frankly, I just find that kind of ridiculous. It's a little ridiculous to hold a soap maker to be able to make a high quality soap in what's, in a very crowded market, but then also be expected to be able to, perfume, or at least kind of create their own scents from scratch. Each portion is difficult on its own. I'm not sure what the big deal is that they have to do both aspects of this very, very well, on top of, labels and actual packaging and stuff like that. These are all factors, right, that we take into account, granted, but I do want to hone in on the soap making part and the perfuming aspect. So I'm all for, if you're trying to go outside the box, again, there's plenty of fragrances out there, because if you're still early in the game, trying to establish your brand, and just trying to make excellent soap, I'd rather you not kill yourself having to develop your own scent too. And frankly, I think some people are just gonna be better at one or the other. We're really lucky as consumers that there are multiple artisans who can pull off both making or choosing, excellent scents, and then also making a great soap base. So most often I'll see the sentiment written as something like, oh, they just make the soap and then just dump in a fragrance that they've purchased a pre-blend or whatever and call it a day. I think if you're just starting out, that's perfectly fine. And if you are learning perfuming or scenting, given that this is usually a side hustle, a side gig for most artisans, I'm not sure how much time we're expecting them to have, let alone personal lives. Oh, God forbid they have a personal lives, significant others, spouses, children. How dare they make time for them? And unfortunately, I think this phenomenon points to something else. And that is consumer entitlement. And we've heard the customer's always right. And no matter what line of business, you can be a restaurant, you can be a hotel, service industry, or not. The customer is always right. Retail. You buy a product and you buy a new shirt, you wear it like 5 times and then all of a sudden decide you don't like it. The customer's always right and they should, get a full refund. And even more like ridiculous scenarios besides that one. And I think it comes down to consumer entitlement. There's something to be said about customer service and maybe gaining a loyal customer from proper service when something goes wrong. But honestly, there are some ridiculous standards I think we're holding to folks that we expect to interact in the community, because oftentimes the artisans are wet shaving enthusiasts first, and then decide to dip their toes in there, and that's great. That's cool. And do I think that all soap makers should try their hand at fragrancing? Yeah, I think they should at least give it a try, right? If you're out for years and years and years and never take a crack at, at least learning that craft, because I do think scents are very important part of the experience. They're not the number one most important thing for everyone, but surely I think that's a factor that's going to have your product stand out anyway. You're good with the splash. And I might be in a unique position where friends or acquaintances are actual artisans. So, I am privy to some behind the scenes, the processes, the struggles of my friends and acquaintances. So I'm sympathetic. In general, I'm a pretty sympathetic, empathetic person. But as with many things, and just a general rule of life, check your privilege before you make demands. Before you make demands of someone or something, check your privilege. Are you being reasonable? If something breaks and you need, like a razor or a brush falls apart on you, yes, of course. I mean, I'm not saying don't get in touch when there's a problem, but don't go finding problems just to complain about. And don't be mad at new artisans who, join the playing field and complain, I have too many options. No one is forcing you to buy every single soap out there. I do not think that's the point. Whatever fragrance route they go, a lot of times it's figuring out what the customer base wants. And I think a clone scent, a dupe scent, inspired scent is a good way to kind of help stay afloat and figure that out. Also, at the end of the day, if you just write off dupes, you're not interested in colognes because they're too complex, or they're just not your thing, then quite simply move on. No one is forcing you to buy the product, and it's a weird criticism, guys. I guess that's all it comes down to. Another route is through collaborations. Work with someone that's already adept at making fragrances. We know there's numerous collaborations in the past from within wet shaving, and more we're seeing collaborations with actual perfume houses. So that's a really exciting development to me. And that's how you get the fragrance, at least in your products, on lock. I mean, you team up with a professional, right? What a great way to do it. All right, so we're done with the shave. So again, Fallout, very solid release here. I really like it. One funny thing is, I'm not sure what the actual name of Fallout has to do with YSL Tuxedo. It's a really cool label, but there certainly is a disconnect as far as the inspired scent name and then the name of the soap. That being said, I really enjoy the scent. I'll probably wind up picking up their EDP of this so I can continue the scent. Even though it's only okay for my wife, I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Well, that's gonna do it for our shave for today, but I wanna hear your thoughts. What's your thoughts on this whole dupe thing for Artisans? Are you in the camp where you're getting kind of tired, getting kind of mad that there are Artisans just relying on dupe scents? Or are you on the other side where it's just another option and you're fine owning multiple soaps in the same scent because you love it that much? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for your time and joining me for today's shave, for today's discussion. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.